Hi everybody, it's Kim from Inside My Money, and today I'm going to look at how you can take the report information that you spit out of Homebank for, say, something like the statistics report and manipulate that. I've had a question about how you can try and do a statistics report and you do the filters and things and keep that level of detail, keep the categories and your filters and everything. And when you come back into Homebank, will it keep that sort of set? So is there a way you can format a report and keep that formatted report in Homebank? Well, short answer is no, there's not. So every time you do a report, it will clear all of that and you'll have to redo your filters and redo your categories for the ones that you want in the report and don't. But if you have Excel, then you can use PowerQuery. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a report, a statistics report. We're going to export it out as a CSV, and we're going to bring it into Excel, and you're going to do a Power Query through that. The Power Query will hold, and so that when you bring the source data in again, all of that selection, filtering in and sorting and everything will hold, but Homebank will always sort of reset itself. If you aren't using Excel, then I can't guarantee this is going to work in different other open source versions of Excel. Probably wouldn't work in Google Sheets. And then there's only Office, which was a specific query, and I don't think it works in there. But if you're using Excel, then this is what I would do. So to explain all of that, what we're going to do is we go up and we choose our report. Now also remember, you can start creating and going into reports up here with these little toolbars. So the quick way to get into a statistics report, for instance, is to go up to here to the little pie chart and bring it onto my main screen because it opened on a second screen. So here we have a statistics report. And remember, we can either have a total or we can have a time report, which shows you by month. So we're going to use this version, which is by time, which shows you month by month. And then you can go down also by category, subcategory, payee, account, tag, month or year. So we're going to go subcategory because that gives us a bit more of a breakdown. You don't need to have the little book open. So what we then do is, say for instance that we want to create a report every month that just shows us what we're spending on discretionary type spending, like eating out, entertainment, groceries, and we want to have a goal to try and reduce those. So we really want to hone in on what we're doing with those. Then we would export it with this little button up the top there. We would say export result to CSV, and I'm just going to put it on the desktop, and I've already created one there. So we'll just say income spending example and save. You can only do we can only do this really one as CSV. So that's saved it as that. So then what I'll do is I'll open a new workbook in Excel. And so what we're going to do now is bring that information across into Excel. So this is going to be what we call a Power Query in Excel. And this, what we do first is we get the source data and we bring it in. So we go up to data and we go get data from file, and you can get it from a bunch of different places, but this one is not CSV, we're going to get it from Excel workbook. And then that says where are we going to get it from. So you go to where you've saved it. I've put it in the desktop. Right, so then we go to the desktop and you'll see that you can't see it there. That's because it's a CSV. So we go down to all files and then we can just do a sort on the date. And this is the income spending example and that's come across today. So you import that. So that forms a connection between this Excel spreadsheet and the source data. So now you see an example. You may not see it all because it just, like this, that's truncated due to size. And then we can go transform data. That will come across into a window on the other window for me. So I bring it across here. Now this is what we call the Power Query. So with this doesn't change the source data. It just changes the format and how you see the source data. So you can keep bringing in the source data. saving over the top of the file, and it will make these changes for you. So basically just like a pivot table, or if you did a formatted table and you sorted some columns, this captures those actions. So what we would do first is we don't want our headings to be called column 1, column 2. So you go first row as headers, and that does that. That just makes that column. If you want the total, that's fine. But let's say, for instance, that we really only want the expenses that are discretionary. So I'm going to do an example of a discretionary spending report that will help you each month focus in on some certain things. So I would take all those out. I would filter it and say, right, I want to focus on clothing, eating out, entertainment, groceries, hobbies, maybe household for house projects, house maintenance. Insurance is not really discretionary, it's pretty set. Personal care, can't really change much to do with power rates, rent, savings, taxes, telephone, total. Right, so we go okay. Right, so we go okay, and this gives us now just those particular fields. And now we're going to change the data we're going to change the format of the data in here. We go up to transform, and we say, I want that data to be not a decimal number, I want it to be currency. And you can change them to all to be currency, so that when it comes into Excel, it's all in dollars. So I'm going to make sure I just capture all of those. So I'm just holding down the shift key, picking them all. You could just go right to the end and pick all of those columns. So let's just pick them all and go up to decimal number and go currency, and that will move them all to currency. Now I've noticed I've got a column at the end here. It's got nothing in it. I'm just going to hit the delete button. And you can see for every action I'm doing, it's telling us the actions on the right-hand side. So if I did something wrong, I would just remove that, just hit the little cross, and it cancels that action. And then I can change the action depending on what I did wrong, and I'll just fix that. If you pull an action out in the middle of something, that will definitely cause errors with the rest of it. So you just need to be careful what you're taking out and putting in, and don't do it in the middle of things. If you think to yourself, oh, I've done this bit wrong, then you can move the actions up and down. So I could have removed the columns before I changed the type, but now we've got an error. So that's not really helpful. So you can move them, but only in certain situations. Okay. So now that's fixed it because I've moved it back to where it's sort of put itself back into sequence again. So you name it here by just double clicking. This is income and spending example. So I'm going to change this to discretionary spending and just hit enter. So now this is the format we're going to see in Excel. And so then you go to home and you go close and load. What this does is it brings that source data over, and it's had it in dollars, but we might, if it doesn't hold it, then we can just go through and we can put that into dollars again. That's no big deal. And it shows you the connection and query that you've got over here. So you can see that that's connected to this data. So next month, when I put information in, so you can see we're a few months behind for these clients, but for next month, when I put the information in, then I'm just going to export it out as a CSV, save it over the top of the income and spending example that I had on my desktop. And then all we do is we click on this and we click on query and we say refresh. And it will go through and pick up that new data. It overtypes that, but it only gives you these categories and the new dollars. So this is a really good way of creating your reports once you've got all your information in Homebank. It's a really good way of taking that information and helping you dissect to see what's going on month by month, so that you can start to see your average. So average for clothing might have been quite low for 1 month, but if you have a few big months, then you'll start to see that average change. So this is just something that you can do with your home bank information to take it to that next step. Like I said, I can't guarantee that you can do this in Google Sheets. If somebody's tried it in Google Sheets, then fantastic, let us know. I have tried and looked at it through Only Office, and you can export the data out and bring it into Only Office, but to my knowledge, you can't then do a PowerQuery because PowerQuery is part of the Microsoft suite of things in Excel. So I hope that helps with some of the things that you might be trying to do. From this, you can also do a pie chart, and you can do a pie chart just specifically on this. The only other thing is that you can just keep, every time you do a report, you would just have to keep doing your filters, filtering out what you don't want, keeping in what you do want, and then doing your different graphs and reports by that, and then exporting it out to what you need to do. So if you've got any questions, put them in the chat, let us know, see how this goes, and tell us how you're using it, and that might just help other people do some different things with their numbers too. So thanks a lot, and we'll check you next time.